Moin and welcome to House Schnegge. My name is Messina and today is Movie Monday. For those of you who don't know, on Movie Mondays I am talking about one movie out of my or my parents' film library. And today we are talking about, where is it? There. Willow. In my humble opinion, real gem. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but we'll get to that later. This is a must-watch if you are a fan of old-schooly 80s fantasy and a real gripping adventure story. Buff Morga, the evil queen and sorceress, has gotten a prophecy that one day a child will be born with a mark on her arm that will destroy her and end her evil reign. Now naturally, Buff Morga does not like this, and she sends out her people to find this baby and get rid of her. She almost succeeds in this. The baby is born in her dungeon, but before Buff Morga can confirm that this is actually the child from the prophecy, the midwife takes pity on the baby and the mother, snatches the child away, and brings her to the woods where they spend a short amount of time just trying to keep safe. Eventually, Buff Morga's devil puppies, as I like to call them, they're quintessentially dogs in masks and look like a very weird hybrid mix of rats, boars and dogs, but they are puppies, so it's already a great movie. They found them, the midwife, but do not fret, the baby is safe. She was put into a crib and sent down the river to fulfill her destiny. She is Moses now. At the end of her river's journey, the baby is found by none other than Willow. Willow is played by the Warwick Davis. If you haven't heard of Warwick Davis yet, what are you doing? Young Warwick Davis plays Willow, who is a family father and a farmer whose only dream is to become a star. To become the greatest sorcerer that ever lived. Sadly for Willow, he has absolutely no trust in himself, and as all my fellow D&D players know, sorcerers are charisma based. Self-esteem kind of important here. Nonetheless, greater forces see his potential and choose him to be the baby's, Elora Danem's, guardian. Now, Elora Danem is quintessentially the main character of the story, but because she is a baby and the whole entire film takes place in the first months after her birth, she's not. There is not much to say for her. She doesn't really have a say in many of the matters. Though I must say, and now I have to look up the names of the actors, the babies who played her, which were twins, Ruth and Kate Greenfield, did a phenomenal job. They were, I think 6 months old, and they are so expressive. You can't do that with CGI back then. No, I don't believe that. Those were real expressive babies, and the casting did phenomenal. Amazing. On their long journey to Tir Asleen, where Elora will become queen and eventually fulfill her destiny when she is old enough, of course, they encounter many people and fantastical creatures. Some good, some bad, some neutral, and some of them even changing sides in between. My personal favorite was when I saw that Lucas Studios managed to hire Brunies. If you know me and know my work, you are maybe aware that last month I wrapped a short film where I was telling the story of a Scottish Bruni and his life in the kitchen. It was an amazing honor to work with a Bruni, and to see other Brunis on screen it made my heart go real big. Yay! I did mention at the beginning of the video that this movie is a rough cut diamond. It is not completely smooth, it is not perfect. So what are the flaws? The first one is ableism and stigmatism. This is a film from the 80s, so back then obviously some things were considered different. than today. If you watch this film today, I did get uncomfortable at some points where it was like, okay, I get it the first time, you don't have to repeat it 5 more times that you are racist against this character. That's... If you watch it with the eyes of the time, I guess, but also no, you don't have to put that in a story. You don't have to do that. That really is actually the only major bad thing about this film, if you ask me. Unless you find something else, then you can tell me in the comments and I can chit-chat with you about it and we can exchange opinions about it. The other thing that's kind of bothering me is the ending. I did not understand it. It left me with questions. Like, what was happening there? And why was it happening? And why... What? Anyway, otherwise, the story is great. The film is great. It was great. And now I have a small little fun fact for you. Willow was the first film that had an uncut, complete CGI transformation scene. Lucas Studios has always been ahead of their time. And I think there's only one other movie who has a morphing scene that is also uncut, which is The Abyss with their water morphing. But then again, water morphing is different than physical transformation, morphing from one physical thing into another physical thing. And Lucas Studios did not just do one into another, but one into one into one into one. And that for the very first time, uncut on screen. That is crazy. And if you're lucky enough to have the DVD, in my case I actually have the special edition with special features on it, and they explain the whole process of how they did it. So for all my animators and VFX artists, check it out. It is always good to look back at your roots and see where things started, how things were made back then. And now, for those of you who watched the movie and want more of it, 2 things. First, in 2022, Lucas Studios and Disney Plus have released 8 episodes of the TV show called Willow. That TV show was queer, it had a great story, it was a fantastic costume and set design, it had some great magic in there. It's basically the film, a little bit modern twists here and there. I think the official reason was that it didn't bring in enough money, which is... yeah, okay. I'm not getting into that today. Anyway, they took the TV show down and it was never found again, but do not fret, I heard there's a rumor that if you wish to free Willow, you might find it out there. Maybe you're lucky. I really recommend it. I really like the show. But there is another option. If you are looking more for the classical fantasy from the 80s vibes, which is, to be honest, kind of a brain fuck sometimes, because like, what the fuck is happening? Then I'm recommending to you the trilogy, The Chronicles of the Shadow War, written by Chris Claremont and George Lucas right after the movie came out. It follows the story of the film, of what happens after. I have not read these books, but I have read the synopsis and it's kind of a brain fuck because what the fuck? That is... there's so much going on apparently. And I have to warn you, if you have watched Willow, the TV show, and you're like now, whoa, I've never heard of these books before, I'm definitely getting into that. Oh my god, more background story to these characters that I love. No. No. Two completely separate timelines. Nothing to do with each other except that they feature Willow and Elora, but even Elora is not the same Elora. So different mediums, different timelines. You should still check it out, obviously, if you want more of the world, because I doubt there will be more in the future. So you might as well read the books or find the TV show. And that is it for today. For me and Willow. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something. I hope you had a nice conversation. I still haven't really figured out the outro.